In this video, we're covering parallel and perpendicular lines. But before we begin, we need to cover some other basics. So the first one is a line is named using 2 points on the line. So on your screen, you can see a line there. Now this line we would call line AB because it joins A, the point A, and it joins the point B. So line AB. Now, we also have what we call an intersection or an intersect. Now this is where two lines cross at a certain point. So for example, we could say that line DE, now line DE is this line here, alright, because it's joining point D and point E. Now line DE intersects line FG here, alright. So, and we say they intersect at the point X, which is just where they cross. Now, the first real thing we're going to be talking about is parallel lines. So these are lines that point in the same direction but never intersect. Alright, now these are called parallel lines, and they're marked usually with arrows pointing in the direction they're going. So in this case, line MN, which is the top one, line RS, which is the bottom one, are parallel. That means no matter how far you draw the line, they will never touch. They will be always the same distance apart. So, in saying that, this distance here is the same distance as this here. This distance here is the same part as this distance here. They're always the same distance. Alright, now we represent these with two lines. So, like this. Now that symbol is what we call parallel. It represents parallel to. So what we would say is MN, which is our top line, is, so MN, draw our symbol, the two lines, is parallel to the bottom line here, which is RS. And that is how you show a parallel line without having to write the whole sentence out. Because mathematicians are lazy, we like to have to just quickly do something. We like the two lines that represent parallel. The next thing we're looking at is what we call perpendicular lines. Now these are cross at a certain point, but always at right angles. Now remember, with a right angle, it's represented by that square in the corner. Alright, so as you can see here, we have that square in the corner, so it's a right angle. And because that's a right angle, we call these perpendicular lines. Alright, now in the same way that we represent parallel lines with a special symbol, we do the same with perpendicular, and it looks like that. So what we would say here is that PQ is perpendicular, which is that symbol, to XY. Now, if we move on, we're going to do some questions. So here we have a diagram, and we need to name the two colored lines in the diagram below. So if I'm looking at the red line, I want to know what points are we connecting. So it's connecting point B up here and D down here. So that line in red would be called line DB or line BD. Now if we go to the green line, we notice that it's connecting our C point over here and the D point here. So the green would be line DC. Alright, now that is as simple as naming lines. That's all you need to do. So here we have a diagram. We have a lot going on. Now, before we begin even reading the question, I'll remember this means parallel and perpendicular are where right angles are. So, in the diagram, we need to name a line that is perpendicular, parallel, and or intersect. We need to do one of each, alright? So we'll first focus on the perpendicular one. So we know this here is our perpendicular angle. So we need to name the angles that are crossing there, that are intersecting. So I'm going to highlight it. I'll highlight that one there, and I'll highlight that one there. Alright, so those are our perpendicular lines. So what I can say is line FC is perpendicular to AD. Okay? Let me undo that one. Alright, so now we're going to look at our parallel. Alright, so remember parallel has the little arrows, so we know these two lines here and here are what we call parallel lines. So we have GB is going to be parallel to FC. Now, the next one says that intersect. Now, we could just say FC and AD because they do intersect. That is a part of the rule for perpendicular lines. But let's mix it up and we'll do something different. We're going to pick two lines that intersect at any angle. So what I could do is I could do our H here, this line, and this line here. So we can say that angle line HE intersects GB. So to end the video, we'll do a quick recap because we did cover a lot there. So remember, a line is named using those 2 points on the line, which usually are letters. When we have two lines that cross, we say that they intersect because they're crossing each other. Parallel lines are lines that point in the same direction but never intersect, so they never cross. And these are marked with those arrows, the identical parallel arrowheads. Now, there is the symbol, the two lines going up and down. Now, that stands for is parallel to. Then the last one we looked at was perpendicular lines. Now, these intersect at right angles. So that means they cross always at right angles, and these are called perpendicular lines. And they're represented by the symbol there with a vertical line going down and then a horizontal on the bottom. And that stands for is perpendicular to.